This is Unit 3, Test Correction for Math 7, number 3. We're going to start with A. I'll go ahead and do both pieces separately. So I'll do 3A for one video, and then I'll do 3B on another video. So if you need to watch for 3B, go ahead and go back to the playlist and look for 3B for your test correction video. Simplify the following fraction expression. Show all of your work. Use giant 1. I think I made that pretty clear right there. Ms. Fu, and I really wanted you guys to try to have a hint for you to approach this. Hopefully you didn't make that mistake of just adding across and you actually use the giant 1. The reason we need to use the giant 1 is to make sure you have the same denominator for both of those fractions. So if I have 5/6 and 1/4 that we are adding, you needed to have a giant 1 to make sure that you can have a common denominator between the two. So in order for us to have a common denominator, we needed to find it. I quickly found it, but in case you don't know how I did it in my head, you put the denominators as a list like this, okay? And then you count, skip count, or find the multiples of 6. So the first one is 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24. And since I already knew that 24 was going to be it, I just needed to find it in 4s. So I'm going to skip count or find the multiples of 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Ooh, we could have used 12, not 24. I'm going to go ahead and erase this and then use 12 instead. Okay, since I found something that popped up earlier, then it makes sense for us to just use 12. Yes, you could have used 24 because if you keep going down on this list for 4, it would have been 16, and then 20, then 24. So 24 does appear eventually, but it is going to give us a bigger number for everything. So it wouldn't be wrong. It would absolutely still be mathematically correct. But since 12 will give a smaller number, I'm going to go ahead and use the 12. So 6 times 2 is 12. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 3 is 12. And 3 times 1 is 3. Now, a lot of the mistakes have been made right here. Just letting you know, some people forgot to multiply 5 times 2 and they just wrote 5 right there. And 3 times 1, instead of 3 times 1, they just put 1 right there. So please don't make those mistakes. Make sure that you are tracking exactly how you are multiplying these giant ones with these fractions, okay? 10 plus 3, now we can add, since we have the same denominator, 10 plus 3 is 13 over 12. If you left it like this, it would have been perfectly fine. We would have given you full credit for that regardless. I can also change this to mixed numbers. Since I have 13 twelfths, I can make a whole 1 out of those 13 pieces and have 1 left over out of 12 pieces. So that would be 1 and 1/12. That could be a 2. If you use 24, it is still not incorrect. So I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick how it would work with 24 as a denominator in case you got 24 as a denominator. The only difference is that you would have a different giant 1 right here. I would have to use 6 times 4, so it would look more like this. 6 times 4, so the numerator should be multiplied with 4, making this 20. Then I'm going to have 1/4 be multiplied by a number that would give me 24, which is 6. And then I would have 1 times 6 gives me 6. 20 plus 6 is 26 over 24. That is mathematically correct. Out of 26 pieces in 24ths, I can make a whole 1 and 2 pieces left over 24. And when you simplify this mixed number, you should still get 1 and 1/12. That's why it's exactly the same answer, as you can see, okay? Again, you do not have to do both ways. You need to just pick one. I'm providing you both in case you decided that you needed both to see the comparison, okay? Now, the next part you need to remember to do, hopefully you didn't forget, is one thing I learned from the video. Please, 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 I can't emphasize enough. Please make sure that you are answering this question right here or finishing this statement. One thing I learned, do not tell me or Miss Fu that you know how to add fractions. Do not put the words, I know how to solve fraction addition, or I know how to add fractions. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more something along the lines of, I needed to find the common denominator before I added the fractions. I cannot add, or you can say one thing I learned from the video is I cannot add the numbers, the fraction numbers as it is, straight across without changing it into a common denominator. It needs to be clear and specific. Please make sure you do that. Thanks.